This is about as cute as my fringe has ever looked. Hello. Sorry for the intermission in my content. It has been it's been pretty hot. Yeah, it was so hot that I basically couldn't even think straight, let alone make a video. So I didn't. Every video now I try and leave a pinned comment, and the pinned comment in the last video was the announcement for this video, which is how to survive sixth form college. Or the IB. Basically the IB, because that's what I did in sixth form college, because I'm crazy. I realised the extreme irony in wearing a t-shirt that says cheat on it when I'm talking about school. That was unintentional, I just wanted to wear this cool baseball jersey. Technically says cheat death, so you know, I'm always aiming to do that and be a health person, so a healthy person. I should probably close the window, shouldn't I? My plants have been loving it. They're pretty hyped. Let's do a bit of a backstory. I have never really known exactly what I want to do with my life. The closest I've got is I think I want to be a writer at some point. A, I procrastinate a lot, and B, I can't just do English. Well, I can at uni, but not at college. You had to choose options. Then one fateful week, the leader of the IB, the head honcho himself, a guy called Sean. He came into my secondary school and did an assembly, but he was basically talking about the IB and how good it was, opens your options more, and I was like, that's what I need. I need all my options open, mate. And then my ego loved the idea of it because you could only get in, apparently, if you have 5 A stars to Bs in some of your GCSEs. Obviously I hadn't passed them yet, but like they were predicted. That made me feel good because I was like, hell, that means I'm smart if I get in. I might as well apply and see if I'm smart. I got this big booklet about it, and I'll try and find a graphic to put here to explain what the IB is. But basically, instead of doing 4 A levels, you do 6 subjects. 6 subjects. There was English, math. I'll try and be brief because obviously most people are watching this for the sixth form information / help. 3 of those options were higher level, and then 3 were lower level, so they were slightly less difficult, and you got to pick which ones, and you could swap around if you wanted. And then you also have a lesson called TOC, which is Theory of Knowledge, which is basically you sit in a room and then your philosophy teacher spouted garbage and we had to kind of understand. And at one point he brought a big stick in to the lesson, didn't say anything about it, and was trying to see who noticed it because it was some philosophical experiment. No one really knows what TOC's about, and it was always 2 hours long, which was too long. It was meant to make you a deeper thinker, I think. It was quite interesting in some ways because it was basically philosophy 101, and in other ways it was debating with each other. And the other component is you do an extended essay in whatever subject you choose. I chose English, obviously. I did an extended essay on Sylvia Plath, I think. Another core component of the IB, before I go on to my actual tips, is that all of your assessments are in the second year. You're 17 to 18 during that time. Yeah, you don't do any work in the first year, at least I didn't. I wasn't revising, as far as I remember. I wasn't really doing anything, but probably going on YouTube, just like now. To be honest, the step up from high school, or secondary school, sorry, American, to sixth form college is okay. I didn't find the transition too bad. The other thing about the IB is everyone that applies for it is obviously also a massive nerd, so you're with kin. There was only a select group of us, so like 50 or so students, so we all knew each other. It was a bit like primary school or first school when you're all kind of in the same classes with each other, so you get to know each other much better, which is good for someone who is a creature of habit and likes to know who she's in classes with and stuff. With that in mind, let's go into the tips. Okay, this is quite a deep one. I don't know why I put this first, but number 1 is try and be your authentic self. The thing with college is like, everyone is at the age where they're experimenting in some way. It was definitely my most #rebellious phase. The closest thing to rebellion I got was I pierced my nose. Video here. But you know, feel free to dress how you want, look how you want, do what you want within reason, because these are meant to be the most free days of your life, and most people I talk to, regardless of whether they did the IB or were just at college or even like, you know, did an apprenticeship or something, these are like their favourite years of their life because it's where you feel the most free. You're not quite yet an adult, you're not a teenager either. The environment of sixth form college I found was a lot more accepting than secondary school, and everyone kind of just treated each other very well, and everyone's very woke, chill, bohemian, everyone kind of got on with each other. So don't feel pressured to kind of look a certain way or be a certain way. Like, secondary school is definitely part of that. I remember I had a very specific top and skirt I'd wear in secondary school to make myself like look cool. Sixth form college rolled around and I was in the IB, I was like, I'm just gonna wear red. At one point I wore a red cardigan, a red shirt, red jeans, and I'm pretty sure I wore red shoes. I don't know why I went through a red phase, it doesn't suit me. I maybe took that to the extreme and looked like a plonker, but the point is, do what you want and feel free. But also, don't feel too pressured. In some respects I wasn't really myself, I was still kind of very socially anxious and trying to please people. Yeah, don't pressure yourself to do that too much. Tip number 2, don't change your options at the last minute. So you could change your IB options, and I think I swapped. I should probably remember that, shouldn't I, for this video, but you know. I definitely swapped something for higher French. Anyone who knows the IB/languages in general knows that studying them at A-level or the IB is really hard. Why would I make the difficulty level worse? Because I was arrogant. I thought I honestly could do it and be fluent in French because I'd been studying it since I was 10, like in school. That was a massive mistake. Not just because it was super hard and basically no one ever got the top grade. Also, each subject was ranked out of 7. 45 was the glorious you've won life score, which no one ever got. Basically no one ever got a 7 in higher level languages unless you were literally a fluent speaker. I think the lower French classes had them as well. Outside of the normal French lessons, you'd have this little room where you'd go and talk to a French native lady who I think was also a teacher, and you had to speak only in French to her and just talk about stuff. Like every week there'd be a topic. Yeah, I gave that a miss eventually because it was too embarrassing, and it turns out that I have major cognition issues when I'm put under pressure to speak in another language, because I speak really fast in English and I cannot speak as fast in French. It didn't work. It was so embarrassing. My actual final exam in the second year for French, the speaking exam, you had to sit in a room and read this like little slip of paper with French on it and then talk about the topic into a tape recorder, and you were only given one chance. You weren't allowed to redo it, and I fucked that up so bad. I remember my French teacher's face, she was so disappointed, and I was just like, this is one of the worst moments of my life. Which says a lot about my privileged existence, but also how much I did not give a shit about that lesson. To circle off the story, don't swap your options around unless you're 100% sure. Number 3 tip, revise from the get-go. Like, don't go mad, but like do as much as you can. You'll hit second year and you'll be like, well, I'm in the deep end. Try and make friends if possible, because you don't want to sit alone at lunchtimes. We had a designated classroom for the IB people to sit in, and that was pretty cool because at least I knew where everyone was every lunchtime, and we kind of hung out in a massive group, which I don't know if it was good or bad or healthy or unhealthy, but we just did. Number 4, talk to your main tutor about any problems you have. My main guy, who was also the higher English teacher, was Sean. He was a really nice guy, very highly educated, and he had a lot on his plate, and yet I would come to his office hours and probably annoy the shit out of him, crying and having a massive stress out, particularly in the second year, not so much the first year. A lot of it was stressing me out, particularly the time management issue. Didn't know I had ADHD at this point, so writing essays and trying to get all that done in time and not being late, it was a problem, and it was feasting on my ego and making me feel like a terrible person. I highly recommend talking to whoever you trust in the IB teacher-wise. They probably understand how stressful it is because they have to teach you the curriculum for it, and it's a lot of stuff. I am sorry, Sean. You probably didn't like my crying constantly. Tip number 5 is make a Facebook group for the IB people, for your course at college, so you can ask questions. You're like, when's this assignment due? When's this lesson? Has the timetable changed? Can anyone help with this particular problem? It was often the maths people, like the higher maths people. I was not one of them. They would like post like, does anyone know how to solve this and stuff. And also just bants and chat. I think that was one of my favourite things to do at the time, was just to check out the Facebook group. Number 6, the IB knows all, and probably just sixth form college in general. There's obviously less students, it's like a smaller environment, so if any gossip happens, that stuff is spreading. I sort of dated this person, and because it was within the IB, it got really awkward when we like broke up. Very embarrassing. Focus on your studies. Okay, just do that. Number 7, your tutors will try to get you to apply to Oxbridge. Particularly if you're doing the IB, because Oxbridge friggin' loves the IB apparently. It's like, hell yeah, you're smart, join us. And I was just like, I actually got sent with another girl to look around Cambridge. It was fun, and like we looked around someone's dorm, and then we think we had lunch at one point, and Cambridge is really pretty. I was going to apply for, I think it was English and philosophy. It was fine, it was just quite old-fashioned, and I couldn't really see myself being there, apart from the library. Oh my god, that library was amazing. To be honest, I probably could have got in, but I was a bit too nervous about the idea of moving away from home at this point. I definitely thought there was some pressure in that. Like, a lot of people in the IB ended up applying to universities like either Oxbridge or like Durham, high top 10 unis at the time, and I was just not into that. Don't feel pressured to apply to, or even to go to uni. I mean, I did, so I can't really say about the opposite options. Take a year out, like do an apprenticeship, like travel, whatever you want to do, man. You don't have to go to friggin' Oxford or Cambridge, okay? Tip number 8, books and special calculators. I put in brackets, lol, yes really. We had to buy this really expensive calculator and really expensive textbooks. And I think I bought them new because at the time I didn't really know a lot about like buying secondhand stuff. They're expensive, and you really want to try and borrow those if you can, or buy them off of past students. That was another thing. I think some of the IB teachers said to like the students that were leaving, if you don't want your books anymore, which you probably don't, do you want to like sell them on to the new students? So that was really cool. I still have that 80 quid calculator. Yes, there are calculators that are more than £10. I was shocked as you are. Ever since I left the IB, I was like, I'm gonna put that thing on eBay, I'm gonna get a good old $100 for it or something, and I didn't. It's still hanging around somewhere. Number 9, don't ignore your TOC or extended essay. They were requirements on the course that I kind of just was like, I'll do fine. Like at the time I was pretty good at my English essays and my philosophy essays, so I just thought, hey, I'll do them, they'll be fine. And they weren't, they were pretty crap. Out of the 3 extra points you could get for these things, I think I got 1. No, don't put that off. I didn't really write a number 10 tip, because I'm a knob. I do think about sixth form college pretty much all the time, and I think it's because it was quite a formative part of my life. It was when I was finally discovering like my independence to some degree and finding other people that enjoyed the same things as me. I think maybe my number 10 tip is, if your IB doesn't have a prom, arrange one. We had a little prom and it was pretty fun. Find a way to celebrate when it's over, and then you've got your life in front of you. In my case it was university, which I will do a video on. I hope my fringe wasn't too distracting, because it definitely is for me. And be sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. Growth. Plants. Thank you, and read books.